obviously Glow is a privately owned company, and then you're
Right.
now on the board of a public company, which is Julius Berger. That must be a different experience in itself, right?
It is. And it's funny you say that, because when I got appointed to the board of Julius Berger in 2017, I thought, okay, now I'm coming out of this cocoon of having been in family businesses. And what I then realized is that as a leader, you must always be humble enough to keep learning, keep that continuum of learning going. So the key thing has been self-development. So I'm now overlooking 4 different sectors of the economy. So telecommunications, construction, property, and now manufacturing. And I thought the only way I can thrive is if I keep myself informed and keep learning continuously. Another thing was ensuring that my voice was heard. So I was in Julius Berger, and prior to me joining, there were no women on the board. So I joined as one of 2 women newly appointed, and then by far, I think I was the closest person to me in age was about 20 years my senior. And I thought, oh goodness, how do I now, in this new space, ensure that my voice is heard? And some of the things I did were I would say things, I'd always make that extra effort to speak up at meetings. Yeah. And I would use the action word cycle, where if I said something, I'd make sure I'd follow it through with actions, and then remind them, it could be at the next board meeting, what I said I was going to do, or the suggestion, this was implemented, or things like that. So that really helped.
And based on your experience, how are you now driving the case for gender balance, either in the corporations or in the boards?
Well, if I would answer that question starting with my primary company, which is Globalcom, we have quite a fair representation of women on our board. There's 5 women on the board of Globalcom. And we always drive to have more inclusion of women. And women are promoted within the organization without any bias. It's based on your merit, your competency, and they're compensated based on the value that they add to the company. Now, on a personal level, I think that the only way that you can succeed is by helping others grow. So what am I doing? I'm constantly having people trained. I'm developing them. I'm ensuring that, look, the times that you need to work remotely, you can work remotely. There's no reason why you're sitting behind a desk 9 to 5. And that's also usually a bit of a struggle. It's not that women should have an easier way out, but the job needs to get done. There are other ways to get the job done. So I think having a support network where you help other people grow and let other women see that you can rise to the top is important. So when I started off at 18, one of my struggles was that I looked around me and I thought, there are no other really young women like me who are high up in organizations. And yes, I'd see some, there were some, but they were in their 50s, and I wish that I had seen a woman who's now in my position who could really sort of groom me and even just aspire to be like her, and that would have helped me be a bit more at ease at my career and the trajectory at which it was going.
Absolutely, representation goes a long way. Now, I'd like us to sort of, pass on the message that balance is not just a hashtag. So I'd like us to tap into the advantages. Why is it important that we need to have more women on boards, perhaps based on your experience? And what do we need to do to ensure that there are more women on boards?
So an easy answer comes to mind is that diversity. So you have 12 men in a room, day in, day out, after about 2 years or so, whatever time, you can kind of keep hearing the same thing. So women bring that diversity, and I speak from experience. I'm on the board of Julius Berger, and what I know I bring to the table, which has been very welcome, is a lot of enthusiasm for innovation and for change. So there's no 2 ways about it. Women bring diversity. And I think that with more women on boards, there's more influence, that power to wield more women coming onto boards. Now, looking at challenges, society sort of conditions the mind that, leadership is more paired to maleness. Yeah. So a man is a father, he's a husband, and he's not looked at that he's less devoted to his career because of his family. But, women pay a higher price, and there's always that work-to-home debate. So the more women that rise above this and show that they can balance it off properly, I think it's important, and it's the way to go.
Speaking of balance, you're a woman who's not just on 4 boards. You have your family, you have your art, you have your music, you have your language. I'm not going to ask you how you balance it all. I'm going to ask you how you define balance in your life.
So I would honestly say defining balance is really by having a strong support network. The key thing for me is that leaders are not independent actors. You are shape your constituents. So there's a phrase, an article that was written by one of my favorite business authors, Deborah Ancona, and it says that we need to be in praise of the incomplete leader who's not an incompetent leader. And that just says that tap into your resources. You're not, you need people to, a leader needs to cultivate people to rise to the top. Yeah. And that's important because when women do eventually shatter that glass ceiling, they need to be careful not to fall off the glass cliff. And how do you fall off the glass cliff? By not having a support network. So that has really in itself helped me. But the key driver, I would honestly say, in balancing has also been discipline. It's something that it permeates all aspects of my life. So I've been at times known to be a little excessive with my planning and organization, but over the years, I stuck to it, and these are things that now are some of my most recognized and celebrated traits. Yeah. That particular skill, just trait of being disciplined, has put me into positions that I never thought I would be in. And if I could even share a story with you, yeah. I didn't start off being, I'm not going to sit here and say when I was 18 I was so disciplined and I knew that I was going to eventually rise to the stage where I am today. But it's something that I had to cultivate. So, like I said, I'd like to share a story. And about 18 years ago, I was 125 kg. And now I'm 68 kg.
Oh, wow.
And it didn't start off immediately. It was really a silly story whereby anytime I took something sweet, my tooth would hurt. I was scared of going to the dentist. And I said, okay, well, you know what? Maybe just by cutting off a bit of the soda and the sweet things, maybe I would not have the pain anymore. But then it continued. But then what happened was, eventually the weight started coming off, and people thought, okay, wow, you actually look like you're losing some weight. And then I realized, okay, you know what? Let me actually follow through this weight loss journey. And then I started exercising. I was running at times 5 miles a day, watching what I ate. But the key thing here is that the changes in my appearance and my character have shaped me to who I am today. Yeah. And we have a project. I'm a director of the Alliance of the Mike Adeniga Center, which houses Alliance Française. And a portion of that project was opened when President Macron came to Nigeria last July. And at this time, honestly, I didn't speak a lick of French, though I love the language and I love the culture. And when he was leaving, I thought, okay, now you're the face of this project. You're going to be a fraud if you don't speak French. Yeah. And from August till about November...
Don't tell me you learned French fluently.
Well, mais maintenant, je suis très contente que je parle français un peu.
Fantastic!
I took... Thank you.